How's it going, everyone? This is Ben. I've been the host of the Tinnitus Virtual Summit. I'm a doctor of audiology in California. I really hope you're enjoying the summit. There's a lot of great videos on there, and I've been humbled by the response from the presenters through these interviews with these amazing guests, and then the feedback from the community, people viewing. So I wanted to introduce myself as the host, and I wanted to share my backstory. I became a tinnitus specialist in the last few years, but my story really began about 7 years ago. So when I was in college, I was at a university, and one of my best friends and I, we really wanted to go camping. We wanted to go to the mountains, but we didn't have a car. So we decided that we were gonna create a outdoor adventure camping club. And we worked at this, we worked really hard, it was super fun. My friend and I were creating this club. And I realized that I have this strong passion for building community. We spent about a year and a half building this club. We were bringing kids from the city to the mountains, to the forest, to go on hiking and camping trips. This was really impactful, and I felt very in line with my creativity and my passion. The club was successful, and it had nearly 100 members by the time I graduated. So during college, I also loved going to concerts, and that was my first intro into the hearing world. So I developed ringing in the ears. I developed persistent tinnitus after going to a lot of concerts and music festivals. I started to get into earplugs, learn about hearing science, and then my mom reached out to me and she said, "Hey Ben, I see you're interested in hearing. Did you know audiology is a profession? Have you considered being an audiologist?" She is a speech therapist, so she always knew about it, but for me it was pretty new, and I said, okay, I'll check it out. I ended up applying to a graduate program in audiology, and I went to the San Francisco Doctor of Audiology program in California. When I moved out to the Bay Area, I loved being around the new community. I especially loved the yoga and meditation communities in the San Francisco Bay Area. I also met some amazing friends, and in particular, I met friends who were working internet jobs. They were making a good living, and they were working jobs via the internet. And I started to hang out with them, and I was really curious. I mean, like, so what does it mean that you make money on the internet? What do you do? They say, oh, I work in tech, or I run an online business, and I can take vacations whenever I want because I'm not tied to a physical location. So I can go travel as long as there's internet, I can still do my business. And I went, whoa, I gotta learn more about this. What is this about? And I started to learn about creating an online business, and with the internet, all the opportunity that came from it. So I saw these guys, and I thought, I want to run an online business. They look like they're really enjoying life. They look like they have a great work-life balance, and I think I could do that. So I put that in my back pocket. I wasn't sure what to do with that, really. I was in a Doctor of Audiology graduate program. I was working hard every day to learn the skills to diagnose, treat hearing loss. And I saw these guys with the online business, but I just kind of put it to the side. So soon after that, I was thinking, how can I use audiology as an online business? How can my education and my profession be used to serve people using the internet? And I was feeling lost. I was feeling confused because I just didn't really know a way that I could use the internet in my field to do something I love, helping people using the internet to serve them. So I was confused, and I was feeling pretty depressed because I wasn't so much enjoying the clinical life of an audiologist, and I was feeling depressed, and I even thought about quitting, about leaving the audiology path altogether. It's a really hard time. And then I started to learn about telehealth, and I started to learn about how people can have counseling appointments via the internet. So I was even thinking about moving to an exotic place, living by the beach, programming hearing aids via the internet. I didn't know if that was possible. I didn't even know if that was legal. So I was feeling down, I was feeling out, I was feeling sad, and I just thought that I wouldn't be able to start an online business, and just kind of moved on. And then something pretty amazing happened where I was in school and I started to learn about tinnitus. I was very fortunate that I went to an audiology program that had an in-depth dive into tinnitus management. At my school, we had 20 weeks of tinnitus. That's 2 full semesters learning about tinnitus. And most programs, most audiology programs in the United States, they might be lucky if they have a few guest speakers. There's not so much dedicated learning to tinnitus. I realized that I loved working with tinnitus because of the psychological aspect and learning how to control our reaction and the holistic perspective, a lot of which I was learning myself through the yoga and meditation communities in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I kept working hard. I was inspired again in my field, and I was accepted into a residency program in audiology at UCSF, the University of California, San Francisco Hospital. And that was a big deal for me. And when I was there, it was tough. It pushed me to my limits. And when I was working at that residency, I was excited because that was the premier tinnitus management center in Northern California, in my opinion. So I was working directly with some of the industry leaders about how to manage tinnitus, how to counsel patients, and that's not a common skill, as you probably know. So one day, this was maybe halfway through my residency, I'm looking at my schedule in the morning, and I have a tinnitus appointment. I was always really excited about these appointments. They were 90 minutes long, and it was an opportunity for me to learn from someone going through tinnitus, going through their process, their journey. And it was an opportunity for me to practice and test the counseling methods that I've been learning for years. So in this particular appointment, I see that the patient lives in Lake Tahoe. So the patient comes in and we start talking, and they explain that they live in Lake Tahoe and they drove to San Francisco, which is a 4-hour drive. In their hometown, they saw their primary doctor, they saw their ear, nose, throat doctor, and both of those doctors said, okay, you have tinnitus, I hear you. Well, there's no treatment, there's no cure, so there's nothing you can do. You just have to learn how to live with it. And this brought them into this place of, no, that can't be. There must be some way to improve my condition. So they started going on the internet and they started typing and searching for tinnitus experts in California, and they ended up finding the UCSF tinnitus management program. So they called, they scheduled an appointment, and they were excited. They were hopeful that finally someone could potentially understand what they're going through. So they called, they had an appointment, they drove 4 hours, and then they get to their appointment, and who do they see? They see me. And we have our appointment, we go through, I get the detailed history, what they've tried, and then we talk about what they could try, some recommendations, some strategies, resources, education, information. And they left that 90-minute appointment satisfied and thankful. And at that moment, I had an epiphany. What I realized then was that people are willing to drive 4 hours to see a tinnitus specialist. So the very skill and the very passion that I've developed in my field is in high demand, much higher demand than I even thought. At that very moment, I realized that tinnitus therapy was the best way to start an online business in audiology. And that got me excited. I started to have hope again. So what I did was I kept working hard and finished my audiology residency. And after my program ended, I was looking at jobs in San Francisco, and I wasn't very excited about living in the city anymore. I was feeling like I just had too much of the city, all the noise and all the people. So what I did was I thought, well, I want to start this tinnitus business, but I can't. I told myself I can't. I'm too young. I don't have the experience. I was scared that I would fail. And so I just pushed that to the side, and I said, well, if I can't do that right now, I at least want to work as an audiologist in an exotic location. I want to go somewhere where I enjoy being, even if my day job with audiology might not light my passion so much. So I ended up moving to Hawaii, and I lived on the Big Island, and I worked in a private hearing aid clinic. You can say that externally I was living in a paradise. I was able to go surfing after work. Sunset surf in Hawaii, magical. I was able to eat fresh fruit all the time. And I was able to swim with dolphins on the weekend. But something was missing. Externally, I seemed to have it all. But what I was truly feeling inside, I was feeling lonely. I was feeling sad. And I wasn't feeling like I was living in my purpose. So after about 6 months of living in Hawaii, I quit my job and I decided to move back to California. That was a big part of my journey to make that decision. And now what I know is how important that step was. So I moved back to California, and suddenly I was back around all this technology and innovation and very driven individuals who are working on their business, and entrepreneurs and people who are working on their ideas, and learning how they can take a good idea and create a valuable service and give it to people who are really in need of it via the internet. And then I felt this fire, this passion build up, and I looked within and I realized now's the time. Now's the time that I'm able to start this project to build a tinnitus telehealth company. And I started making a YouTube channel at the beginning of 2020, and I learned YouTube, and then that grew really quickly. Within 2 months of launching the YouTube channel, it's got over 4,000 views. And then the next big project was to start this Tinnitus Virtual Summit. After creating Pure Tinnitus, I was not only able to meet my financial needs, but the way I work with tinnitus patients allows me to be in my creativity and in my passion. And that excites me, that gets me ready to wake up every morning. As a result of all this, I was able to create tinnitus video resources, a monthly membership program, as well as a live group coaching intensive via Zoom video. That means that those who need help for their tinnitus are no longer limited by where they live and what experts live in their hometown. We're building out this membership right now, and we're testing it. It's going well so far, and I'm excited to say that sometime in the next few months, we're going to release this for a special membership launch. And definitely stay up to date with our email list and follow us on Facebook to make sure that you're up to date with all that's going on with Pure Tinnitus, but specifically this membership site that's coming out in a few months. So thanks for listening wherever you are in the world. And that's my journey from a college student through an audiology program and into creating Pure Tinnitus, a telehealth company that gives high quality tinnitus therapy to those who need it, no matter where they are in the world. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you haven't already, make sure you do watch the Tinnitus Virtual Summit videos. There's some amazing presenters and interviews. Thanks for listening, everybody, and take care. Of course, remember to take your tinnitus journey one step at a time. Bye, guys.